All right. Pleasant greetings, everybody. Welcome to another session, and we are going to dive into what we are supposed to be teaching tonight. Okay. So, in our last class, let me see if I can pull up my whiteboard. Give me a sec. In our last class, we would have been looking at worded problems, right? Consumer arithmetic. That's what we do on a Wednesday. And we were supposed to have a class last week, Monday, but circumstances beyond my control, internet was not available in my area. So let me see here on the dates. This is the 10th. This would have been last week, Wednesday. And then Wednesday again. Okay. So this would have been what we were doing on a Monday. I think we're supposed to be starting. Okay, so so looking at this document, has anybody started watching the coordinate geometry video? Or you guys haven't started this as yet? No? Yes. I think this is what we started teaching. Yeah, I think this is what we started teaching. So I'm just gonna finish this then, rather than start a new topic. Yeah, rather than start a new topic, I'm going to finish this then. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, in our last class, we were looking in our last Monday class, and you can confirm with me if I'm on the right path. On the screen, as you're seeing it right now, this is what we were doing, right? We were learning how to plot points and calculate the gradient of a line and how to use rise over run. Does this look familiar to those who were at the last Monday class? This looks familiar?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it looks familiar. All right. All right, good. Once it looks familiar. So this is what we're doing. I'm not talking about students who are new, obviously. So this is what we had done. As I said, all the classes are recording. So everything that you wish to catch up on, I've already created a playlist with all the recordings from September. It's a lot of classes, as you can see. It's a lot. So it's gonna take some level of dedication for you guys to read. For those of you who are new, it's gonna take a lot of dedication for you to really sit down and watch all those videos. It's a lot of videos, and they're all like an hour plus long. So it's gonna be a challenge for a lot of persons. However, you have to take your time and go and do it, right? So in our last class, we looked at what we are seeing here on screen: how to plot a point, and how to find the gradient using the formula, and how to also find the gradient using rise over run. You can always revisit that lesson. It is available on my YouTube page. Okay. But we're going to move on then. Right. And we're going to do a quick little recap on this. Quick little recap. Right. So in summary then, what have we learned? Give me a second. Okay. In summary then, what have we learned? All right, so we learned that a point, we learned that hold on, why is it so skinny? Give me a sec. Okay, here we go. So in summary then, what have we learned? We learned that a point is a specific location on the Cartesian plane. So we learned that a point is a specific location on the Cartesian plane. And for those of you who are fairly new or still having a challenge catching up with what we're doing, Cartesian plane, you might be asking then, what is the Cartesian plane? Well, when we sketched it, we said that the Cartesian plane is basically like a y-axis, right? It's a straight line coming down, a straight line going across like that, right? And basically what we do is that we have some numbers on it, right? So we have some numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it goes all the way out, right? And all of those are positive. 1, 2, 3, 3. Oops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then over here, we're going to have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Continuing down here, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, right? So all of the numbers that are down here are pretty much negative numbers, right? So let me see if I can zoom up. All right, so we'll just leave with these -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, right? And it continues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then over here we have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and it continues like that. And then obviously now up here is going to be positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it continues, right? Now, this that you're looking at here is what we call the Cartesian plane, right? And if you're on a graph paper, right? If you're on a graph paper, then you should be able to draw up a straight line coming down to the middle of the Cartesian plane and straight across, and you should be able to, replicate what you're seeing here on the screen. Now, we had discussed that every point, right, is labeled with a capital letter, right? It could be any letter of the alphabet. So A, I will label that point, I will call it, let's say, 4, 5. Let's say 4, 5, right? So when you see something like A open bracket 4, 5, what does this mean? What does A open bracket 4, 5 mean? Well, this first number will tell us the direction that we travel along the x-axis, whether we go this direction. Sorry, let me just grab my cursor. So this first number right here, ladies and gentlemen, this number right here will tell us whether we go to the right or to the left, right? So basically this right here, so where we're at right here, where this red line is, that's 0, right? It's 0 up, 0 to the right, 0 down, and 0 to the left once you're on the line, right? So at the moment, this is where we're at 0, right? So we need to go 4 units. The question is, do I go to my left or do I go to my right? Well, since this number right here is a x value and it is positive, it simply means that we have to take 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to our right. All right. So we're gonna jump 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So hold on for a sec now. This second number here now is 5. This second number right here is 5. Now this next number here tells us the y coordinate, right? It tells us whether we should go up or we should go down. So after taking 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to the right, we then have to decide from right at the 4 here, do we go down below the 4 or do we go up above the 4? All right. So right now we are at 4 and we say 5, right? So 5 is positive. If we go down, that's going to be negative. So obviously we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically should be right above 4. So we should be right above 4 and across from 5. So we should be somewhere about here. Not precise, but it's about here. So we are right above 4 and we're right across from 5. That is how we plot our points. Okay? And we're going to get several points like b equals -2, 5. In this case now, we can look at another example. -2, 5. What does this mean? -2, 5 means now we're at 0 again. Right? We're at 0. Right here says 0. -2 now. Do I go 2 steps to my right or do I go 2 steps to my left? Well, in this case here, we're going to take 2 steps to our right. So we're going to take 1, 2 steps to our right, right? And then now we need to decide, do I go down or do I go up again? So in this case, now I'm already at -2. That's 5. So 5 again means I need to go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, I'm going to be right above 2 and right across from 5. So I should be somewhere right here. Not precise, but you get what I mean. Right above 2 and right across from 5. So it should be here. If you're on a graph, it's going to be more accurate than I have it here. All right? No,
Excuse me, sir. 2 steps to the right.
2 steps to my left. My apologies. 2 steps to my left.
Somebody's in the waiting room.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now, I did recommend to you, ladies and gentlemen, I did recommend to you that you should go on my page, right? If you go on my page here, which is AP3X CSEC Online Math Institute, and you come here, when you go on my page and you click on videos, once you scroll down, once you scroll all the way down, you will see a topic known as coordinate geometry. In fact, let me just go to my playlist. And when you go on my page and you scroll and you find the playlist here, look at that. You see that topic there, coordinate geometry. When you click on it right here, it brings you to a bunch of different videos, right? So you'll see at the top, coordinate geometry tutorial part 1, where we talk about points, drawing of lines, and gradient. So for those who missed last week's class and would rather a class where you're not really hearing the students talking back to me, you can always watch that 1 hour and 4 minute video that explains everything. In that video, you'll be able to get notes, right? And you have like a literal graph that's drawn up perfectly to guide you. So if you give this video a chance, that's all I'm asking. Just give it a chance. I'm not earning from YouTube. I only made the video because I know that students in the future is going to need something that will give them a lot of clarity. So you can check out this part here, 1 hour and 4 minute video. Let me just go back and show you. Once you go on the page, once you find my page, you just click on the page, then you click on playlists. My apologies, guys. Somebody was calling. Hmm. All right. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So I was saying, once you go on my page, ladies and gentlemen, right, you have to put yourself in a position. Not I don't want to say put yourself in a position to pass because everybody wants to pass, obviously, but not everybody has the time to dedicate, themselves to it. But if you guys want to like get the actual notes, a little bit less, more complicated than the actual live class, once you find my page, you can see my picture at the top there. Click on playlist, scroll all the way down until you see the coordinate geometry playlist. Click on the playlist and you can start watching part 1, part 2, and part 3. And then I have some videos here with some practice questions as well. So there's part 3, right? And that playlist contains only coordinate geometry tutorials, right? And so in there, you guys will be able to get step-by-step details, notes with the graph actually on the screen, and I'm moving a cursor. You can check it out. All right. So please give yourself a chance to do just that. Okay. Give yourself a chance if you guys want to manage it. All right. So back to this now. So tonight we're just gonna dive right into working some questions that's related to coordinate geometry. So tonight we're going to be looking at two things. Well, three things. Hopefully we can get through all three. So tonight we're going to be looking at we're going to be looking at length of a line. Why is it so skinny? So we're going to be looking at length of a line, midpoint of a line, and equation of a line. Hopefully we can get a chance to do all three tonight. All right, and all of these are formula-based questions, right? Which means, as I tell my students, when you have a topic that is formula-based, there's no alternative method to get to your answer. It means if you're in an exam and the formula is not, and you don't remember the formula, basically your goose cook, all right? The goose basically cook. So these are formula-based questions, and sadly and unfortunately, these formulas are not provided to you by Csec. So we have to do our very best to try to get these formulas in our heads some way, somehow. So we're going to kickstart with this. Length of a line. Before we do that, we went through a topic last week called the gradient of a line, right? So let's just recap on that. Gradient of a line. Now with the gradient of a line, we learned that the formula was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so we had a discussion about how to get x1, y1, how to get x2, y2. Now let's say I give you a point. Let's say I give you A is minus 2, 5, and B is 3, negative 4, something like that. And the instruction is to find the gradient of AB. The instruction is to find the gradient of AB. All right, so here's what we do, like, guys. I'm gonna grab my red marker here, and we're gonna label this first point here x1, and this one is going to be y1. And then the second bracket here is going to be x2, and that's going to be y2. So please make sure you know how to label the points, right? The first bracket will contain the 1 subscripts, and the second bracket will contain the 2 subscripts. And that's basically like a label. Now, once you've labeled it, all you have to do then is to go ahead and transfer each number in the respective position. So we know that if gradient, which is m, is equal to y2 minus y1, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, we can go ahead and chuck them in the formula. So y2, let me just grab a little cursor here. Okay. So y2, based on the labeling, would have been minus 4. Because see, this is y2 right here, minus 4. Take away y1 is 5. Over x2, which you can see right here, is 3. Minus x1, which you can see right here, is negative 2. So 3 take away negative 2. Now, negative 4 take away 5 is negative 9. And 3, negative by negative is a positive. 3 plus 2 is 5. So my gradient is negative 9 over 5. All right? So that's what we did last week in order to understand what was x1, y1, x2, y2. Now we're going to continue with that same procedure here, but we're going to be using a different formula, right? So what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be learning how to find the gradient on the length of a line. So let's look at this then. Length of a line. Right, so for the length of a line, the formula is the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. So that's your formula for the length of a line. That's how you calculate the length or how long a line is. The formula is y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared, right? That allows us to find how long the line is on the graph. Now, applying the formula is pretty straightforward, right? I'm going to give you a simple question here. Given that t, open bracket, minus 3, 5, and q is 1, 4. Determine the length, determine the length of TQ. All right, so that's what the question is going to say on the paper. Determine the length of TQ. Now, what's my solution to this question? My solution is going to be this. Solution. So my solution to this question is going to be length equals square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. All right. Now, as per usual, we're going to go ahead and we're going to label our points. Remember, as we said earlier, this one is x1. That's y1. This is x2, y2. Pay attention to where you place your label. You've placed your label over specific numbers. Those numbers will replace those variables. So the length then is equal to the square root. Y2 is 4. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Y2 is 4 minus y1 is 5 squared plus x2 is 1 minus x1 is negative 3. All right, we're going to continue to do our arithmetic. That's going to be the square root of 4 take away 5 is negative 1. Remember, I'm going to put it in a bracket, guys. Squared plus negative by negative is positive. So 1 plus 3 is 4 squared. That then becomes, when you go on your calculator, if you don't put the brackets, it's going to tell you negative 1. If you put the brackets, it's going to tell you that it's 1. So don't forget the brackets, please. So negative 1 squared is going to be positive 1, and 4 squared is going to give us 16. 4 squared is not 4 times 2. 4 squared is 4 times 4. So the answer is going to be the square root of 17. All right, so we're going to leave that as the square root of 17 units. Just a second, guys. I hear someone said they've been in the class for. All right, guys. All right, so the answer is square root of 17. Now, I don't know, some persons want to go ahead and find the square root of 17 and say the answer is 4 point and change. That's up to you. I'm quite comfortable and contented with the answer being left at the square root of 17 units. So I'm good with that. I don't need to know what the exact value of square root of 17 is. So you can leave the answer at root 17 units. And we're perfectly fine there. All right. Anybody has any questions? All right, if you don't have any question, please go ahead and try this one for me. I'm going to give you the same point across here. Please go ahead and try this one for me. I'm just going to give you the points. I'm going to call this R is 4, -3. No, let's do 4, -7. Let's do that. And I want to give you x open bracket -2, 5. So go ahead, guys, and replicate the formula. Go ahead and replicate the formula, right? I've written it on the same screen. So just go ahead, follow the pattern, and tell me what your answer is. I'm going to give you say 3 minutes. 3 minutes is fine. Yeah, 3 minutes. So go ahead.
Sir, could you shift the timer, please?
Check the waiting room as well, please.
Right, so as you can see there, the time is up. That doesn't mean that if you have not, or if you're not able to work the question within the 3-minute time, and that doesn't mean, but in reality, you're gonna have more than that time to work out the question. But as I mentioned to you before, that working within a time frame is crucial. It's something that I have to subconsciously train you guys on. Right? When we get certain questions, we need a certain time to work them out. Let's see if we can run through this one here. Length is equal to the square root of, and just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you guys have gotten it right. So length is equal to y2 I'm so sorry guys, let me zoom up a bit. So length is equal to y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. As per usual, we're going to go ahead and label. This is x1, that's y1. If you have been successful in getting that done, you're doing good so far. x2, y2. So now we end up with length being equal to the square root of. Labeling, we have 5, take away -7, plus x2 is -2, take away 4 squared. And we end up with 12 squared, because these two negatives becomes a positive, so 5 plus 7 is 12, plus -6, make sure it's in a bracket, squared. If it's not in a bracket, then you might get the answer incorrect. 144 plus, if you have a minus there, you know why. If you have a minus right here, if you're at this stage here, you end up with 144 minus something, you're going to be incorrect. Because like I said, if you leave off the bracket with the negative numbers, you're going to get a negative answer. And your answer is going to be inaccurate. So this is supposed to be positive 36. So if that's a mistake that you made, please note that error is because of this bracket thing that you forgot right here. So then you should end up with the root of 180. So yeah, 6 and 4, 10, 10 and yeah. So it's root 180 units. All right. This could go further if I want to, but I'm contented with the root of 180. All right. So if you guys got that right, you're doing good. If you didn't, make your notes, make your corrections, and so we can, just look out for this question to come back again. All right. Let me check my chat. Who is getting it right? How is the chat looking? Oh, the chat is empty. You can see some thumbs up on the screen. Who got it right? Who got it wrong? It was a mistake. Samantha got it right. Only Sam alone? Akila got it right as well. Halfway right. Daisy, halfway right. Zahenia. Zahenia got it right as well. Right, I figured more or less, Latisha, that would have happened to you. So you'd have gotten 144 minus 36, not true? Yeah, man. So be very mindful of that, okay? All right, no one now talk to me tonight. Let me see. Tanisha Smith, half right, half wrong. All right, let's make notes of the correction, okay? Make notes of the correction. All right. I feel like I need to give you guys another chance. I don't want to rush it, Before we move on to the next one, I feel like I need to give you guys a chance to redeem yourself. I'm going to show one more example up and see if you guys can redeem yourself. All right. Watch out for the signs and negatives. You guys should do better this time. Let's see what happens. All right. So go ahead and try this one for me, please. This time I'm going to take it off the screen. All right. So go ahead and find this one for me. F, open bracket, 3, -4, or -1. Yeah, 3. So F is 3, -1. And G is -2, 5. Why do I keep using 5? -2, 9. Let's make it, yeah. All right, so go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and find the length of FG. Find the length of FG. All right, so again, I'm putting you on a timer. And I'm giving you about the same 3 minutes. So go ahead and shoot your shot. Watch out for the signs, guys. I need to see more hands going up. All right, once again, your time has expired. Let's see how many persons to answer. So again, length. Pardon me here. Give me a sec, hold on. I need to refresh my page. All right, so let's see here. How many persons got it right this time? So we know that length is equal to the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. All right, and according to the labeling technique that we looked at earlier, this is x1, y1, this is x2, y2. All right, remember, labeling your point is crucial, right? It's crucial to getting it right and watching your signs as well. So let's see what we have here. Square root of y2 is 9 minus 1 plus x2 is negative 2 minus 3 squared. So this is equal to square root of 10 squared, because negative by negative is positive. So that's 9 plus 1 is 10 squared. And then this is going to be negative 5 squared. If you put in a bracket, you're good to go. If you didn't put in a bracket, you will find that your answer is going to be 100 minus 25, as opposed to 100 plus 25. So if that's the mistake that you made, then yeah, 10 squared is 100, and negative 5 squared with the brackets is equal to positive 25. So some of you might have still made the error of saying 100 minus 25, you get 75. And for those who said that the square root of 125 units, then you are absolutely correct. Okay. All right. Let's see the chart. Should see more hands going up. See Nathaniel saying 113, 10.63, 7.8. Oh, you round it off? Oh, wait, Stacia, you're getting 7.8 units. Is that for the last question? Oriana is getting it right.
I think I have a problem with my signs.
Okay, Akila got it right as well. Daisy getting it right as well. Where was the mistake? Where did you make the error with this one? Jolene Ellis.
Sir,
Yes.
I thought that your 9 was 7, so I was thrown off.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was 7. Okay. All right, I'm not seeing a lot of hands. We have 30 persons in here. I'm not seeing the chat lighting up, so I'm not sure what's going on. If the person only log in and log out, log in and just gone, I don't know. All right. Anyways, we have to move on. It's still guys will eventually get the idea over this thing. All right, so that's how you find the length of a line. Now, we've just set up everything to make it easier, because what comes next is the midpoint. And the midpoint, yet again, is another formula that you must learn. It's not going to be anything different. You're going to leave their points and put them in the respective positions. So let's see how this one is going to pan out. Remember to monitor your microphones, ladies and gentlemen. Always check to see if you're on mute. We don't want anything from in your background to go out into the public. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so the next thing that we're going to look at then is the midpoint. All right. Are there any questions before I move on? Does anyone have any questions?
Sir, scroll back a little bit for me, please.
Sir, can you give me back the formula? You can just say it.
See it right here, sir, on the screen. I just right here. Square root of y2 minus y1. It's right here.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
And what is that? The distance?
Yeah, that's the distance of a line.
Okay.
Length of a line, distance of a line, yeah.
Oh, because I was watching from the video and I didn't see the length. I was doing the one the distance. So the one that I was seeing on the video, it have the X first. So it have the X with the two. It's in the reverse.
Oh, it's the same formula with the square root.
Yes, but it's in the reverse.
It's my video.
So that's yeah.
Oh well.
The one you send I watched.
Yeah, if you put the X first and the Y after, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. As long as you have it in that, yeah. So
as long as it's the, oh yeah. All right.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
fixed. So
Oh, somebody saying something?
that's what I was doing, but I was doing it wrong.
So if you have x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 so if you have x2 minus x1 squared and y2 minus y1 squared is still correct. What makes the difference is that you do make sure you have a minus sign in the bracket. Okay, if you want to have x first and y after, it doesn't matter. All right. All right, lovely. So now we're going to move on to the next one, which is going to be your midpoint. All right, so let's set it up now. So the midpoint, first, ladies and gentlemen, the midpoint is labeled M. Remember that we learned 2M already. So we remember that.
Screen, sir.
Pardon me?
Not seen your screen.
Thank you. Confirm if you're seeing it now, guys. Seeing it now?
It's coming up. Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So remember that we learned about the first M. Small m, please note small m is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That one is the gradient of the line. All right. Now the m that we're going to learn now, right, is going to be capital M. And capital M is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. That's how you find the midpoint of a line. All right. So please note that there's a difference between the m's. You have common m, which is the gradient. I have capital M. So common M is the gradient and big M is the midpoint. All right. And as you can see, it's the same x1, x2, y1, y2 type of thing. Right. But this one, because it's the midpoint, you're going to divide by 2. So again, we're going to give you a point. Let's say we have A open bracket minus 3, 4 and B is 2, negative 7. The question will say, it will say one of 3 things. It will say find the midpoint, like the actual words find the midpoint, or it will say find the coordinates of M. Find the coordinates of M. All right, and so you can see that capital M here stands for midpoint. So once again, we're going to start off by saying M is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. And as per usual, just like before, we're going to label our points. This is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. Nothing's going to change. Just the formula has changed. Let's plug it in. x1 is negative 3 plus x2 is 2 over 2, comma, y1 is 4 plus y2 is negative 7 over 2. All right, so when you go ahead and you add negative 3 plus 2, you're going to get negative 1 over 2, comma, 4 plus minus 7 is minus 3 over 2. And that's the answer. The answer is negative a half, comma, negative 3 over 2. If you want to turn it to a decimal, it's up to you. I feel like it's just extra work that's not necessary. All right, because it's not a case you're going to be asked to place it on the point, on the line. So if you want to go ahead to satisfy your, you can go ahead and say negative 0.5, comma, negative 1.5. So how you get that? I went on the calculator. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. 3 divided by 2 is negative 1.5. Okay. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to give you one to try. As you can see, it's not really difficult. You just have to put in the numbers in the correct position and you're good to go. All right, so you guys have a shot at this. I'm just going to give you the point, same instruction, nothing changes. I'm going to go ahead and find the midpoint of the following. P, negative 3, negative 5, Q, 4, negative 7. So go ahead and calculate the midpoint of this line. I'm going to go ahead and put at the timer here. This time I'm going to cut it down to 2 minutes. Since as I think that we have a fairly good idea of how to label our points, so you don't need a whole 3 minutes. So go ahead, guys, and calculate the gradient of that line. Sorry, not the gradient, the midpoint of that line. Let me just give you back an extra 1 minute here. I'm giving you back your 3 minutes. Don't move too fast. All right, so that's it. All right, let's see what you guys came up with. Shouldn't be too challenging. Shouldn't be, but let's see. So first step is to label your points x1, y1, x2, y2. Always practice to do that first. Label your points. Next, draft up your formula. Midpoint equals x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. All right, so x1 is minus 3 plus x2 is 4 over 2, comma, y1 is negative 5 plus y2 is negative 7 over 2. She end up with 1 over 2. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. 1 over 2. I don't think we have anybody in here saying negative 7, you know. If we have that student in here, no, then if you leave that class here, I don't make a joke. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1.
Leave right now.
How could you do that? We've been through this 10,000 times, right? Negative 3 plus 4? We passed the stage now, man. Come on. Negative 3 is what you owe, 4 is what we have. Pay what you owe, and you still have 1 left. And this is negative 12 over 2. You can reduce this down to a half, comma, negative 6.
Wap. Got it like that, sir.
All right, solid. That's good. That is good. All right. So, again, this is a mistake that needs to be eradicated. For those who are making this mistake constantly, that's a fundamental problem, and that's going to cost you 10 times over. We have to get past that stage where we're seeing negative and positive numbers and just adding. Okay, negative numbers represents an amount that you owe. Positive numbers represents an amount that you have. All right. So we have to fix that part of our mathematics there, because that's going to beat your body. All right. For those who, let me see the chat. Sorry, I didn't even see the chat. Sorry, I'm so bad. All right. Nicolita got it right. Negative 6 for the second, but I'm not too sure about the first one. What did you get for the first one, Daisy?
I decided to divide the 1 by 2 and I got 0.5.
Yeah, man, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Grayson got it right. Sam got it right as well. Good job. Okay, let's see if you guys can redeem yourself, right? We're not here to judge, we're here to teach. All right, so let's see if you guys can get this one right again before we move on to that interesting part. All right, so I'm giving you another one. Try this one for me, guys. Whoa, what's going on here? T, open bracket, 3, 7, and V, open bracket, 5, -3. Go ahead and find the midpoint of the TV. Find the middle of the TV. Oh, I didn't set the timer. Okay, you got away this time. I'm timing in my mind though. All right. I don't know if 3 minutes has passed. Got the time. Let me see if I can catch you guys. So midpoint is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, comma y1 plus y2 over 2. Leaving our points x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so that's going to be 3 plus 5 over 2, comma 7 plus -3 over 2. Should be an easy answer when you get it. Shouldn't have any stress, no decimal or anything like that. That's 8 over 2, comma 4 over 2. So we end up with 4, comma 2. Always stay. Okay, looking. All right. Oh, stays here. I got 3.5, comma 2.
No, man, I just realized I make a incorrection, sir. I have 7 instead of 8. Yeah, but it's correct. 4 minus 2. Yes, sir.
Right. Got you. Sam got it right. Letitia got it right as well. Where my other students? Where are they at? I'm not seeing everybody else. Are you guys just getting it right and keeping quiet? Oh, 25% in the class. And the chat is looking a bit stingy. Why? What happened to Nathaniel, Nisha, Reynardo? What happened to those persons? Sasa? Or Shamara? Tishana? Shashin, Mackenzie? What about you guys? Not even like a thumbs up? It's free, you know? Also, no get it right and I keep quiet. Okay, all right. So I'll go on. All right, that's fine. No problem. All right, lovely. All right, now it's 8:18. We're gonna get into the meat of the matter now. All right. Now we've gone through the preliminaries. Gradient of a line, length of a line, midpoint of a line. Here is where the trouble starts. Now when I say trouble, for me, I feel like when everything else is easy, this part usually challenges students. So we're gonna try to see if we can do our best to, understand. I want a fresh, clean page to sort this out. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to be looking at a very interesting part of coordinate geometry. Right, I'm going to try my very best to take my time, but I don't want to take too much time as well. I don't want to take my time and you still not get it. So let's look at this then. We're going to be looking at this very interesting part of coordinate geometry. And please pay very close attention, ladies and gentlemen. Beg of you. So we don't get lost. Equation of a line. So let's start this off, right? Let's note, all right? So we have two forms, right? So we have what is called the general form, and we have what is called the standard form. And the CSEC does specify which form they want to write it in. So we have the general form and we have the standard form. Okay, this is the general. I cannot write G for the life of me. I just have a challenge in writing the letter G. So just bear with me, okay? We have the general form and we have the standard form. Now, what's the general form? How does an equation, when we say something generally looks like that, like generally when you're going to work, you have to wear, semi-casual, right? So general meaning like how it normally look, right? The general form. The general form for an equation of any line, as long as it's a straight line, the general form is going to be y equal mx plus c. That's generally how an equation looks, right? Now let's highlight some stuff here. You're seeing this letter again, m. M stands for your gradient. So in this case here, the number that's right here stands for your gradient. Whatever number is in front of the x, whatever number is in front of the x will represent the gradient of that line. So this represents, so m is known as your gradient. Now, C, let me just use a different color here. C is your y-intercept. In a second, I'm going to show you on a graph what does that look like. So C represents your y-intercept. And I don't want to complicate anything. In the textbook, it says different, but I doubt if anybody here is going to take up a math textbook and go read up on this here. So I want to simplify everything for you, right? And so X and Y, let me just use a green color here. That's fine. All right. And then now X and Y here and here. So X and Y. So X and Y represents a point on the line. In the textbook, it's going to tell you something more complicated than that. So to simplify it, X and Y represents a point on the line. Now, I'm going to grab a little notepad here, and this is going to be important, right? Here we go. In order to determine the equation of a line, we must calculate two values. That is the gradient of the line, the gradient m, and the y-intercept c. That's important right here. Let's just zoom it out here. Here we go. So the general form of any equation of a line is y equal mx plus c. M stands for the gradient, which is the red arrow. C stands for the y-intercept, which is the purple arrow. And x and y represents a point on the line, which is the green arrows, right? Now, in order for us to calculate the equation of a line, we need to find the arrow, the red arrow, and the purple arrow. We need to find those two numbers. If we find those two numbers, then we automatically calculated the gradient of the line. Sorry, the equation of the line, pardon me. Now, I don't want to touch the standard formulas yet, right? Because they are more or less the same thing, it's just a different way of expressing them. I want to do an example of how to find the equation of a line. I'm going to try to keep it very simple, right? I want to keep it simple. I want the gradient to be simple, and I want the equation to be simple. So let's have a look. So first, I'm going to give you a point, right? I'm going to say to you, A, open bracket, 3, 4, and B, open bracket, all right. Let me see if I can get a nice gradient. I don't want it to be too hard. Let's do 2, 8, 4, 1, 2, 5. Hopefully that works out right. So A is 3, 4, and B is 8, 5. And the instruction will say determine the equation of AB. That's what it's going to say. A is 3, 4, B is 8, 5. And you're to determine the equation of AB. Now, look at that blue notepad that we have on the screen that says, in order to determine the equation of a line, we can calculate, or we must calculate two values. That is the gradient M and the y-intercept. Now, we have to find M before we can find C. We can't find C first and then M. We have to find M and then we find C. So let's go ahead and do this. So the first thing is that M represents the gradient. So we know that the gradient is equal to, using the knowledge that we've gained from last class, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's go ahead and plug those in. x1, y1, x2, y2. y2 is 5. y1 is 4. Why do I have 4 here? I wanted this to be... All right, never mind. It's all right, let's just go ahead. So y2 is 5 minus y1 is 4 over x2 is 8 minus x1 is 3. 5 minus 4 is 1. and 8 minus 3 is 5. So now we have obtained our m value. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now we have m. Watch now, guys. Look at what's going to happen here now. We're going to try to find the equation of the line. So now we have a choice here. Pay close attention now. Watch how we go on. We can choose our x value to be either this or this. It doesn't matter which one. So the numbers you're going to put here, and here will come from that bracket. So it doesn't matter which bracket you want to use. If you want to use the first bracket or the second bracket, it doesn't matter. So from this formula here, y equal mx plus c, we need to choose a bracket that we want to use. I'm going to use the first bracket. So I'm going to use this 3 as my x and this 4 as my y. So I'm going to say 4. Consider this is 4 right here. That's the y value that I'm using. So I'm going to use that bracket as my x and my y. If somebody else wants to use the other bracket, you're going to use 5 as your y and 8 as your x. I'm using the first bracket, so I'm using y as my 4, 4 as my y, and 3 as my x. So 4 is equal to, we just calculate m to be 1 over 5, and times that by x, which is 3, plus c. We have an equation now with only c available to be found. So 4 equals 1 over 5 times 3. Remember, mx means m times x. Let me just drop a little time sign here. Mx means m times x. Mx means m times x. So the m value that we calculated to be 1 over 5 multiplied by x, which is the 3 that is up here, plus c. Then we have to work this out. So 4 is equal to, well, 5 cannot cancel out 3. 3 cannot cancel out 5. So we're going to end up with 1 times 3 is 3 over 5 plus c. So 1 times 3 is 3. I will put it back over 5. Right? 1 times 3, top times top, top times top, and put it back over the bottom, which is 5 plus c. Now, we haven't started algebra or anything like that. I'm just assuming that you guys perhaps have some sort of knowledge of equations. You might have seen this somewhere when you're working out some math. So I'm going to assume that you guys know that once you bring something across the equal sign, it's going to change sign. This is going to become 4 minus 3 over 5 equals c. So it becomes minus because when you carry something across the equal sign, it's going to change sign. It's going to change to its opposite sign. So we're going to put this over 1 and we're going to find the LCM because it's a fraction, right? You cannot just say 4 minus 3 is 1 over 5. That's crazy, right? You have 4, which is a whole number, minus 3/5, which is a fraction. You're taking away a fraction from a whole. So you can't just take away the top number from the 4 and put it back over 5. That wouldn't be math. So the LCM here is going to be 5. 1 into 5 goes 5 times. I'm sure that we've done fractions in this class. 5 into 5 goes 1 time. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 1 is 3. So we end up with a C value of 17 over 5. So we end up with a C value. So if you notice now that we've calculated 2 values, we've calculated the M and we've calculated the C. And that's exactly what we wanted to do in the first place, because on our blue pad, our blue notepad here, it says that in order to what? Determine the equation of a line, we must calculate 2 values. That is the gradient M, which is 1/5, and the y-intercept, which is C, which we have found. So once we have calculated those 2 values, ladies and gentlemen, our answer is going to be y equal 1/5 x. Because remember that 1/5 is the gradient, you know. Remember, 1/5 is the gradient, and remember that the formula is y equal mx plus c. So remember, y equal mx plus c. Remember, this is our gradient, so we're going to say y equals m is 1/5, x, And the C value was what? 17/5. And that's the answer. So once we calculate M and once we calculate C, we just put them back in their position. Now I've had students ask me, sir, why you don't put back the X and the Y value? Because we didn't calculate those. Those were given to us. And even if we were to put them back there, we would end up with an equation that is strictly numerical. We want an equation that has Y and X in it. So the only thing that we need to place back in the equation is the value of M that we calculated and the value of C that we calculated. Now, sometimes the question comes very easy, especially when the gradient is a whole number. So if you work out something and the gradient is like something like 2 or 3 or 5, the mathematics is quite simple. When the gradient is a fraction, you may have to do this extra bit of work here that we're looking at. All right, so take off your notes. Let's do another example together, right? All right, and let me slow it down in example number 2. So go ahead and take off your example or screenshot or do whatever it is that you guys normally do. All right, let's do another one and kind of slow it down a bit. I want to do one where the gradient is really, really simple. But I mean, that was a simple gradient, 1/5. It's not too complicated. But I want to do one where the gradient is really straightforward so you guys can see that sometimes it's really, really simple. Sometimes. All right, so let's go again. All right, so I'm going to give you a point. So the question will say something like, given that R, and I give you a point for R, -2, 5, and X y2 minus y1. So let's do put a 10 here. Let's do 12. Let's do 5. 11 minus 5 is 6. All right. Let's put a 11 here. y2 minus y1, so that's 6. And let's do x y2 minus y1. Let's do 5. No, we don't want to do 5. y2 minus 5. Yeah, I think we could do minus 5 here. Hopefully it works out nice. So -2 minus 5, y2 minus 2. Right, this should work. Want to get a nice little gradient. All right, so given that r is -2, 5, and x is -5, 11, we're to go ahead and calculate the equation of rx. So find an appropriate equation for Rx. Now, again, let's take our time, guys, and go through this. What you're seeing on the screen is exactly how the question will be structured on majority of the exam papers that you're going to see. Not just mine, just on majority of exam papers, right? They give you a point, and they give you an instruction, equation of Rx. Those are what you're focusing on. So step one, ladies and gentlemen, is to write down what the equation of the line should look like. So y equal mx plus c. We know so it's supposed to look when we finish. So y equal mx plus c is identical to, and we're going to wait for that. We're waiting for what goes for m and for c. So step number one is to find m. We need to find that value right there. And then we need to find c. So take your time and deal with it. You write down the equation of the line and set it identical to something. We don't know what that something is yet. We're going to find out. So we're going to find m first. Now we know that m is the gradient, and the gradient is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2, we didn't label our points, x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so remember, so we have, just like when we're finding the gradient, normally we have to label the points, you still have to label it here. So y2 looks to be 11, minus y1 is 5, over x2 is negative 5, minus x1 is negative 2. 11 minus 5 is 6, and negative 5, negative by negative is positive, so negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. So we get a beautiful gradient here of negative 2. Now what I was saying to you earlier is that when you end up with a gradient like negative 2, when you end up with a gradient like negative 2, you know life is easy. Because you're now going to have no LCM to find. So you end up with a gradient like minus 2, you know say what comes next is going to be simple. Well, it's simpler than working with a fraction. So now that we have m, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and proceed now to find our c value. So let's go ahead now and find our c value. Notice when I draw my arrow, that makes me find c value. So now, in order for us to find c, we have to plug in the numbers for m, y, and x. Now, in our last example, I told you that you could use either bracket 1 or bracket 2 to represent your x and your y. Now, since in example 1, we use bracket 1, and I showed you that it worked out, let's go ahead and use bracket 2 now, just to show you the versatility behind this. So we're going to use bracket 2. That's the one that we're using over here, that one. So now, in this case, now look at what is y and what is x. Y is 11 and x is negative 5. So we're going to work that one. So we're going to have, look at this now. This is what we're working with now, guys. Look at here. Y is going to be 11 equal m. We just work it out to be minus 2. See the m here? That's minus 2. That's m. Times x is negative 5 plus c. Life easy. So 11 is equal to positive 10 plus c. So positive 10? Yes. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. Carry this over here, just as before. 11 minus 10 gives you c. So 1 equals c. So now we have everything we need, right? And as I told you earlier, once you end up with a whole number for your gradient, it's a walk in the park. It's an easier walk in the park than when you're working with a fraction. You're going to have to recall how to find LCM. And I'm sure that we have persons in here that are still struggling to work a fraction problem. So we're hoping that we don't end up with that. So now, we're going to have now, we're going to place them back in their respective position. We know that the formula was y equal. We know that we just calculated the m to be negative 2. We're going to put back our x. And then c worked out to be my positive 1. And that's the equation. y equal negative 2x plus 1. So y equal mx plus c is y is identical to y equal negative 2x plus 1. Notice the position. If you notice the position of it, we place our number, we put minus 2 in front of the x right here, and m is in front of the x right here. So you know, say m is minus 2. And then c is at the end. C is right here. So put it on right there. And that's our answer. Okay. All right. Any questions from anyone? All right. So I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. I'm going to have you guys try one. I want to make this one easy. So I want to give you one that's a whole number for the gradient. So you guys can, feel good about yourself when you get it right. And you're going to challenge you in the last 5 minutes of the class. So go ahead then and try this for me. C, open bracket, negative 1, 4. And Q is going to be 5, 516. Yeah. Yes, go ahead, guys. So C is equal to minus 1, 4, and Q is 516. Go ahead and calculate the gradient. Sorry, calculate the equation of CQ. So I want the EQN of CQ. Putting 5 minutes on the clock. Right, so you should be finished by 9 o'clock. Oh, well, it's going fast. It should be finished by 8:52. No, sir, me are spoiling. No, sir. Me are spoiling. 3 minutes. Me are spoiling. That one are easy. Me give 5 minutes to the next one. All right, so the time is up. All right, let's see if you guys got close or near to the answer. Let's see. So, step 1, y equals mx plus c. You know you need m and you know you need c. Label your points x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's see if we got good. So we know that m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so y2 is 16 minus y1 is 4 over x2 is 5, take away -1. So you should end up with a nice gradient of 12 over 6, which works out nicely to be 2. All right, lovely. If you got it right, thumbs up, you're doing good. Now we need to find c. So we know that to find c, we're going to place the values of y and x and m in the formula. So I don't know which bracket you use. I'm going to go back to using bracket 1, right? Again, I've showed you in the last 2 examples, it doesn't matter which bracket you use. I'm just picking a bracket. I don't have anything specific, you know. If I was doing this question on my own, I would have probably choose bracket 2. I would have probably choose bracket 1 because the 16 is such a big number and I don't want to have to work with such a large number. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say bracket 1. So in the formula here, I'm going to put y here. So that's y. Y is going to be 4. M, we just worked out to be 2. X is what we just looked at, which is -1 right here. So it's x, so it's 2 times -1 plus c. Sweet. So 4 is equal to -2 plus c. But I know you should see the pattern. I'm bringing this over here. So 4 plus 2 equals c. 6 is equal to c. If you got it right, guys, you're doing good. Therefore, my answer is going to be y equal 2x plus 6. That's it. Let's see the chat. All right. Nathaniel got it right. Nicolita got it right as well. Natisha got it right. 8:33. You can't see my screen. 8:33. That was a while back. Oh, you would have seen my screen now. All right.
Sir, I'm
What's going on?
curious. Could you please work out the other part with the 5 and 16? I'm curious about the answer.
Sure, no problem. So we would have still had to find the gradient, right? So we're gonna have 5 is so this is working it out using this part. We just draw an arrow. So this is working it out using that one. So 5 is equal to 2 times. Oh, sorry, that's not 5 equals to. 16 equals to. So 16 is equal to 2 times 5 plus c. 16 is equal to 10 plus c. Carry over the 10. 16 minus 10. 16 minus 10 equals c. 6 is equal to c. All right, so that's how you would find it out using that formula, okay? All right, so I won't challenge you. It's 8:54. I am super, super tired. I'm really using my reserve energy to teach you, right? But you can always, like I said, if you go on my YouTube page and you click on my page here and you click on playlists and you scroll up all the way to coordinate geometry. If you look at part 2, what does it say? The second video, coordinate geometry tutorial review, length, midpoint, equation of a line, plus application questions. You can go ahead and check out that 1 hour video. It explains everything in details, how to find x1, y1, x2, y2. It shows you how to find the midpoint, and it shows you how to find the equation of a line, right? If you want added graphs and demonstrations, you can go ahead and check out part 3, but you can check it out, all right? I am using my reserve energy to teach you guys. That's why you're not getting a lot of, home from, because I'm super, super tired. Super tired. It's been exam and then work and then exam again, and it's been crazy. So forgive me for my lack of energy. All right, but that is it. That is it for tonight. Okay. So again, on Wednesday, I think I'm finished with the worded problems now. I'm going to go back to the worded problems. So we might just use the opportunity to start algebra, even if I have to teach you some basic concepts about algebra, right? So I may start algebra on Wednesday and then continue it on Sunday. I guess I got permission from Miss Morgan to teach, so we definitely confirm for Sunday. We might just do 3 hours on Sunday, and what we must do, use 1 hour to go through the SBA, and then the other 2 hours to teach. So we just try to do as best as we can. So Sunday, we definitely gonna be here. All right, starting the same time, 2 o'clock. Hopefully, them don't cut off the internet again. So 2 o'clock until 5, or 2 o'clock until we say, all right, sir, I hit that. Time to go have some fun for the Christmas. All right. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a pleasant, peaceful, and productive rest of the evening. And be safe. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir. You too.